Hi, thanks for joining a new video. We're unboxing the Huawei Mate X7. Let's begin. This is one of the most interesting foldable as always because of the camera. That is the main strategy of Huawei in this type of foldables that usually make many sacrifices in the photographic section. The launch price has been 48,999 pesos. A price, really, quite high, though it considers that. Huawei usually offers promotions, special discounts, promotional coupons, or giveaways, so make sure to stay tuned that this device is undoubtedly positioned as one of the priciest options available on the market. What do you say we take it out of the box so we can get to know it? And over here we have it. In this case, it's a sample unit, so you're going to find, for example, here some things in Chinese. I don't know if the commercial version will also come with those indicators in Chinese. I don't think so, honestly. But, well, let's get this out of the way. And here we are directly with the folding. Let's close it so that you can more or less see it over here. This is the design that Huawei has incorporated for the camera. We'll soon discuss some fascinating details about the camera module, but for now, I just want you to take a moment to really look at the design of this device, both on the sides and all around. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it on. And while you're doing that, let's check out what else is included in the box, because it seems there's still a bit more content to explore. It's not exactly an ultra minimalist box or anything like that. It appears to be taking a little longer to power up. Let me press the button once more. There it is. It has already emitted a vibration. So what we are going to do is pull this content out, and we will find another small box over here. Let's go ahead and take it out and have a look. Over here we have a holster. This is indeed excellent news. Let's take it out and examine it more closely. Now let's see, in this particular case, the device comes in white, and I'm really pleased to see that the case also comes in white, which is quite similar to what we observed in the last generation. Additionally, it comes with a leg that you can unfold, allowing you to use the device with a stable base. This accessory is very well thought out. It follows the same formula as the previous generation, so if you own the last device, your experience will be quite similar. However, it now includes a cover for the hinge area, which is a new feature that wasn't present in the last generation. In this situation, it is crucial to note that the case is already included because it directly relates to the product. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 comes with a basic case, yet here the case is not only included but also features a quite attractive design with synthetic leather. Now, let me know how you would use this device without any case. It has a glossy design, and I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but sometimes it appears to have glitter on it. It's interesting, it's nicely designed without the case. In fact, to the touch, it's textured, it's not a completely smooth cover. And if we add the case, it seems to me that it does not lose the essence of the design, although it is true that now it will be matte, but it does give a good level of protection. I insist that now they do protect the hinge in this part. What about this little dock? It helps a lot. You can place the device like this, like on a stand, or put it this way. When fully deployed, use this leg to keep the phone like this. Therefore, I find the case absolutely essential for making the most out of the screen space. On this occasion, I would definitely use it with a case. It's an accessory that not only provides protection but also adds utility while maintaining aesthetics. It's excellent in that regard. However, let's take it off for a moment to reveal the original design underneath of the device. Let's check what else is inside the box. The case already seems like a great addition to me. There will also be the usual paperbacks. I insist this is a sample unit for reviews, so the content isn't included. But it brings, as will the commercial packaging, is the key to remove the SIM tray. Let's remove this box. Good news, it includes a charger. This sample unit has a UK plug, but yours will match your current. In true Huawei style, you'll find both USB A and C, as this charger works for Huawei phones, tablets and laptops, and they aren't meant to be used concurrently, so they come close together, but it's really nice having both ports available there. What I would really like to see is the USB-C cable for cellular, but hey, for some reason, Huawei keeps betting on it. No, still betting. See, now we truly have USB-C on both sides, giving us this modern touch. I was about to insist that they should transition to this connector already, and they've done quite well there. Huawei, you beat me to the comment. Well, that's everything we've included in the box. As you can see, it comes quite well equipped. We've got the charger, the case. Just with those items, we're pretty satisfied, especially in a world where foldable phones often come extremely basic, with no accessories included in the box. But anyway, let me put all these things away, and let's turn our attention to the phone itself, so you can get familiar with its specifications and features. The device is already set up, so let's explore its specs to understand what it offers. As Huawei's latest foldable, the main update is the camera. Starting with the design, it has a thickness of 5 millimeters, making it the thinnest in the Huawei foldable Mate X series. It has a weight of 236 grams, let's say very similar, weight to a high-end traditional form factor device. So here you have the advantage of offering much more internal screen space. But pay close attention because it comes with IP58. And also IP59 is to say that it already resists fine particles. Not yet considered the 100% as dust, but it resists quite well that and resists not only being submerged, but even jets of hot water at high pressure. So it has very good durability. In fact, the front arrives protected with AMA Kunlun glass. It's the first time this has been incorporated in a folding phone. It's the hardest glass that Huawei has, and believe me, I've already tested the first generations of. And it's tough as hell. So this one, which is the newest version, if it will give an excellent level of resistance. Here on the front, the hinge has been redesigned. In this particular scenario, it is going to provide us with 5 support arms. Previously, the last generation offered only 3 support arms, so this new version is perceived as having a more rigid hinge, which is quite beneficial. Notice that in this situation, you have the option to fully open the device just a little bit more and then fold it back to enjoy the content in this unique way. You could have the cell phone in this format to take advantage of the stand view. Additionally, you can completely open the cell phone and utilize this other view to your benefit. This flexibility allows you to enjoy different perspectives and enhances the overall user experience, providing more versatility in how you use your device. I emphasize the rigidity of the hinge, which has been enhanced, appearing much stiffer than the previous generation. There is certainly a noticeable improvement. They have actually incorporated carbon fiber and aerospace-grade polymers within the hinge, providing high strength and increased durability. The external display measures 6.49 inches diagonally, offering full HD resolution with 2444 by 1080 pixels. It's an OLED panel featuring LTPO technology, providing a variable refresh rate ranging from 1 to 120 Hz, with a maximum brightness reaching up to 3000 nits. The display is exceptionally bright, leaving no room for complaints. It truly is of outstanding quality indeed. The internal display is equally impressive, offering us a slide, 8 inches. The resolution is 2416 by 2210 pixels, and like the external display, it features variable OLED LTPO technology from 1 to 120 Hz, with peak brightness up to 2500 nits. As you come to realize, the hinge area is going to be noticeable just like all foldable devices, but the reality is you tend to forget about it once you start using the device. You can feel it to the touch, but honestly, it is not annoying whatsoever. I find the experience of having such a large screen to be quite positive. Of course, we also find stereo sound with one speaker located on the top and another speaker positioned on the bottom. These are pretty powerful speakers. The device arrives with 2 front cameras. The internal one arrives with f2.22 aperture and the external one has f2.4 aperture, both with 8 megapixels, and in fact you will also notice that both cameras come with fixed focus. There you are seeing how the preview looks like before capturing the picture. A little overexposed content, but after taking the image it makes a good balance of highlights and shadows. The camera suggests it will be excellent, despite lacking autofocus, due to its outstanding detail level and good color rendition. Now moving to the front camera, it can record video up to 4K at 30 frames per second. You can also use this button to utilize the rear system in selfie mode, available in portrait, photo or video mode. This is quite complete. For that pack, we find 50 megapixel main camera with a sensor of a size of 1/1, 28 inches, quite large to talk about a folding, and also offers us variable aperture from f1, 49 to f with 10 steps. So notice there's the diaphragm open. Now let's close it a little bit at a time so you can see the transition. In this area of the lens, you can physically open and close the diaphragm, a feature even many traditional devices lack. Seeing this on a foldable is truly appealing. Naturally, the camera includes optical stabilization. We have the ultra-wide-angle camera with 40 megapixels and an aperture of f2.2. It also features autofocus. Additionally, there's the telephoto camera with a 50 megapixel sensor, also with an aperture of f2.2, optical stabilization, autofocus, and 3.5 times optical zoom. It's important to note that this telephoto camera is equipped with macro capabilities, just like the ultra-wide camera. So let's say there will be 2 different ways to take macro pictures. You can use the ultra-wide camera at a fairly close distance, and it looks quite good, or you can switch to the telephoto camera, which will also be able to focus on very small objects at a close distance. This means it has very impressive capabilities, as you will discover. In fact, all 3 of the sensors are RGB, which means they are capable of capturing a very good amount of light. Additionally, there is another camera known as True to Color. This camera can be considered an evolution of the multispectral camera technology that Huawei has utilized in previous generations. Now, just for comparison, I want to point out that the Galaxy Z Fold 7, for instance, lacks a camera of this particular style that can assist in the accurate interpretation of colors. Take note of how the image appears rather pale on Samsung's device, whereas on Huawei's device, due to the superior camera, it achieves better accuracy in color representation. For instance, in scenarios like these, particularly where brown or reddish tones are dominant, cell phone cameras typically struggle to capture accurate colors. However, this one seems to maintain a good level of accuracy in those cases. While discussing its main competitor, it's clear the cameras will be the main strengths of the Huawei device, featuring cameras with much more appealing specifications. They include variable aperture, high-resolution RGB sensors, tele-macro capabilities in the telephoto camera, and clearly, the camera's superiority is evident. While you might assume that the camera module protrudes excessively to accommodate all that technology, well, actually, it does not stand out significantly either. Extreme. In fact, this generation Huawei worked to reduce the space of this camera module, and according to official figures, it occupies 43% less volume than the last generation, despite having quite large sensors with RGB technology. But let's see some example pictures, nothing more. Here you are looking at the ultra-wide camera. In fact, it was a photograph with a lot of backlight due to the marked area of shadows and the intense sun, and it comes out well. Here you can see more photos taken with various focal lengths to give you an idea of the potential results. It seems to me that up to 10 times the results are remarkably good. Note that in this case, it can reach a maximum zoom of 35 times. For video recording, we have K at 60 frames per second available with any of the cameras. In fact, the device comes equipped with a fascinating feature that enables Ultra HDR with the help of artificial intelligence during video recording. Additionally, it includes the 3 XMash color rendering modes, which are available for both video and photography purposes. It's important to remember that XMash is the camera technology employed by Huawei to process all of its photographs. On the operating system front, the device is launched with My 15. And yes, you might be saying once more what many people are mentioning, which is that you can't install Google stuff. Well, I believe they might not have seen the most recent information. We're going to quickly install YouTube from App Gallery, so you can observe how you just need to hit install, then install again, and you're finished. It's not too complex for the majority of Google apps, to be honest. It should be noted, though, that not every single one of them will function this way, but the vast majority indeed will. So I don't really see that as a difficulty anymore. Notice that it is already finishing the installation and automatically installed the Micro G service, so you can use the applications natively, not through GitOps, which is virtualized, although there will be some things that you will have to use through GitOps, but I insist, most of them will be available. However, you can easily use Google services without any issues in this manner. Keep in mind that we have already prepared the YouTube app, which is installed on our device. Similarly, we could search for any other popular application, and most of them will be readily available for installation with just a single touch. The matter of updating applications will need to be addressed manually in this section labeled Me. You will find the App Updates section, and you might need to manually update them here. This is a task that is relatively simple, although it requires your attention. It's a bit more tedious, but after all, this is the solution that Huawei has come up with to let you install almost any application you desire. At least I emphasize for the most popular ones. Most of these apps can be directly installed from the App Gallery. You just press the install button and you're done. There's really not much complexity involved in that aspect. Just watch. I'm going to complete the process, and then I will proceed to install Google directly onto the search engine application. To wrap up demonstrating everything, this includes Google Chrome and anything else you might want. Ideally, you should also activate all Micro G services. This is indeed a subsequent step that might take a bit more time, but here I will show you quickly. Simply go to the application list in the settings, and in Micro G Companion, you need to grant permissions so you can use it properly. Let's search now for Micro G or Micro G services, and here we are going to turn on. Make absolutely sure to enable all the permissions, just to be certain you won't encounter any issues. Once you've enabled all these permissions, you'll experience a significantly more optimal performance. For instance, let's open Google and you'll see the search engine is already functioning smoothly without any issues. However, I have a video where I explain many more details about how almost all applications work, so you can see which ones operate at 100%. This operating system lets us open apps in floating window mode, allowing you to have 2 apps floating and others open in the traditional way. You can also split the screen with 2 apps and have another in floating mode. This way, you can have up to 3 apps open at once on your screen. Moreover, within the gallery editor, we will encounter artificial intelligence features, including the draft options, as well as the best expression option. This feature requires you to have captured multiple pictures of the same scene, enabling it to analyze all the faces and suggest potential exchanges for you. The battery will be another of the strengths of this device. It has a battery capacity of 5,600 mAh and supports 66 watts charging via cable with charger included in the box. Also 50 watts wireless charging and even 7.5 watts reverse wireless charging. Well, that it has it all in the battery and charging sense, it is very powerful, possibly one of its most attractive points. Let's wrap up with the performance issue. It comes equipped with 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage. The processor has not been officially released yet, and when I attempted to run some benchmarks, I encountered errors during installation, preventing me from proceeding. And this makes it somewhat mysterious regarding the performance we might experience. However, let's try running a game that I just installed through the Gallery app. This way, you can observe firsthand the quality of the graphics and the smoothness it might provide. And well, here we have the game. Let's go to the settings, just so you can see how we're going to select the more advanced graphics. Let's go over here to the graphics settings section, and we're going to set the best quality 90 frames per second and everything to the highest quality possible, and let's check how it's doing. And well, there we have the game for you to see the graphics yourself. The reflections look good, it looks fluid, does not look like it is cutting at any time. Take note that it appears to load graphics with the highest quality possible. We will confirm this shortly once we have a few more effects to observe. In this instance, I am currently in the tutorial, but do pay attention to the water droplets here, for instance, which are typically seen on devices equipped with the latest generation processors. Notice how it's performing quite well in terms of visual effects. It's actually going extremely well, and it's not freezing or stalling at any point, by the way. In this particular case, the device will provide us with a vapor chamber measuring 3,600 square millimeters. This is intended to help cool the processor and maintain it at the lowest possible temperature during these highly demanding tasks. Now, I would say that this processor is quite competitive and will be more than sufficient for the vast majority of users. So, even though we do not know the exact processor model, we can be confident that it will deliver a performance that is quite satisfactory and reliable. So well, for now, we have come to the conclusion of this video. Of course, we'll soon have the complete video review ready for you so you can explore it thoroughly and get to know all the details. I really hope you enjoyed this content, and if you did, remember you can let us know. We'll be seeing you again in the future.